News Talk 580 WTCM. It is 11:30 on this Tuesday, June the 5th. And you know what? One thing I will tell you is if you are talking in your sleep, you might really want to be talking to someone who can understand what it is you're really trying to talk about, what it is you're really trying to say. And we're going to talk about that world of finding a therapist. Because I think there's a lot of stigmas, there's a lot of stereotypes, there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, I don't have any problems. I don't need a therapist. I have a good friend that I talk to, or I don't need a therapist because there's nothing wrong. I'm completely happy with everything. And I really think that there's only a handful of people in this entire world that probably falls into the category of everything is perfect. And there's nothing that I ever question about myself or other people.
Maybe two people.
Maybe two people, says Nicole Ball, who is a mental health therapist in Traverse City at Mental Wellness Counseling and a full-time social work professor at Ferris State University. She works with clients that are dealing with anxiety, and they want quick results to get back to life. And she uses a holistic approach to helping these individuals who are working through lots of different issues. Maybe it's depression, maybe it's relationship struggles. It could be a career change that can really throw you off. Pregnancy, parenting struggles, working through past traumas. Sometimes it's sexual orientation or gender identity, and building coping skills to find what we all want, a more peaceful life. You're going to talk about who and why should people be seeing a therapist? And, Nicole, when you got here, I said, I love my therapist. I think I would recommend therapy to everyone because it is such a freeing experience. The person who is your therapist is there for you. It's not a person who maybe is thinking about their own things. That is their job, to be there for you, to speak to you, to talk to you, to listen. And to help you through some of these struggles, whether they're minor or major. And I just think it's a wonderful thing, a relationship to have. But if you have the wrong therapist for you, it's not going to work. It's just like any other relationship, right?
Exactly. A lot of times we just have to find that right fit. I like to joke about how finding the right therapist is like finding the right pair of shoes. Because we all know what size we wear, right?
Yeah.
But depending on the brand, depending on the style, it just might not fit just right. And so sometimes that's how it is with a therapist. All therapists are usually well-trained, well-experienced, well-intentioned. Mm-hmm. So sure, you could easily say that any therapist would be good for anybody. But like that pair of shoes, you got to find that just right fit just for you and for your personality.
And, therapists have personalities, too.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
So to make sure that your therapist personality works with your personality is another big deal, right?
Exactly, yeah. Somebody might be a little bit more easygoing or maybe challenge you a little bit more. And depending on you, your past experience, what you're currently going through, again, you got to find that person that's just the right fit for you.
Do you find that maybe people have different therapists during different parts of their life, maybe? Or is it more of a relationship where, I'm married to this therapist and they're going to be with me forever?
I think it could go both ways. I mean, we all find those relationships that just really mesh well. So you might find a therapist early in your life when you're experiencing some kind of issue, and then ongoing throughout your life when you come across new challenges or new transitions, you have that person to go back to because you know that they're a good fit. On the other hand, therapists might be more well-trained or more well-experienced for different issues. So if you're going through grief, for example, you might go to somebody that specializes with grief, or if you need some couples counseling, there might be somebody who's a little bit better with, some of the strategies related to couples counseling. So I think it could go both ways.
Right. So we're going to talk about reasons why people don't go into therapy. Mm-hmm. I think one of the first things that I hear from people is actually, well, there's nothing wrong with me. And I always wonder, well, it's not about finding what's wrong with you to go to therapy. Sometimes you go to see your doctor to make sure everything's right with you, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we all go see the doctor to to get our checkups or to, check on this thing that we're really not sure about. Or we go to our dentist to get our 6-month checkup and get a cleaning. we pay to go see massage therapists, or we pay for our gym membership, or, even to get our hair done and talk to our hairstylist.
Yeah.
But very rarely are people willing to invest in, in their mental health and really talking to a professional that's trained to assist in those matters.
Right. So what are some of those reasons why people don't go?
Okay, so I love Dr. Lawrence Surreal from New York City. He's a psychologist there, and he says that there's 10 major reasons why people don't seek out mental health services. And the first one, and I hear this so often, is I have friends. I have people I can talk to, and I'd rather talk to those people.
And those people are talking to a therapist about you. Is that
Probably.
how it usually goes? Would rather talk to friends. What are some of the reasons why you probably I understand you have friends, and you definitely utilize your friendships for a lot of different things in your life, but is there a point where that becomes too much of a burden?
Well, maybe not so much of a burden, but I mean, we want those supports, and it's great if we have those supports, but therapy does not take place of friendship. We still need to have those supports, friendship and family.
Okay.
But friendship isn't going to be the same as a therapeutic relationship. That therapeutic relationship is there to challenge you. It's there to have somebody who's trained to give you valuable insight into what's really going on in your life, and maybe what skills you might need to acquire or goals you might need to set to really reach your goals.
Okay. What are some of the other reasons?
People say it costs too much.
Okay.
But like I said a few moments ago, we invest in so many other things in our lives, and really, I have to ask all the time, like, where is going to be the investment in yourself and really tackling some of those issues, whether they're very deep-rooted from past experiences or past trauma, or whether you're just going through a tough time and you feel kind of sad and you're not really sure what's going on, or maybe you want to set some new goals in your life. There's something you've always wanted to do, and you're just not sure how to tackle it. There's so many reasons why you have to ask yourself, why aren't I investing in me and what I really want?
And I think people have this misconception that once you go, that you're going to be going to therapy twice a week. And it doesn't have to be twice a week. In fact, not everybody even goes once a week.
No, and at my practice, I don't even really prescribe clients, you should come in once a week. I usually say, what is it that you want? What is it that you need? If you want to come in once a week, let's do it. If for you, money-wise, it's going to work to come in every couple of weeks or maybe even once a month, that's great too. As long as you're making the effort and the investment in yourself and you're staying with it and following, the goals that you're working with your therapist, it's all about investing in yourself.
There's another thing that I almost think that some of these reasons people don't invest in their own mental health are the same reasons people don't invest in their own physical health. They think that, you don't have time to work out and you don't have time to go talk to a therapist, right?
Yeah, I hear that a lot. I just don't have time. And really, I ask people, think about all the hours and time that you're investing in worrying about this subject or in mulling over, ruminating with these thoughts. And really, in the long run, you're going to save yourself time, just like with your physical health. You're going to save yourself time by going to a gym and taking care of your body. It's the same thing with your mental health.
Well, and if sometimes it's just the reason is I don't want to, that's okay too.
Yeah.
But just be honest with yourself about it. I don't want to work out. I don't want to go to, see a therapist. At least you're going, it's my choice to say that. And we're going to continue to tell you some of the other things that reasons people won't see a therapist. And this one, I don't know about you, Nicole, but I've heard this all the time. Well, I tried it once.
Yeah. I tried it once and it didn't work out, or I tried it once and I didn't like that therapist. But like I said, when I first came this morning, is we have to find that person that's the right fit for us. So maybe that person that you saw wasn't the right fit, because as therapists, we all have unique personalities too. We all have unique training and unique skills that we're well skilled in. So that person that you saw 5 years ago, 10 years ago may not have been the right fit for you. And that's okay. But that doesn't mean you should, forget all of them. It's like I tried pizza once. Well, what kind of pizza did you try?
This next reason is what good is talking? Like, what good is talking about my problems going to do? And this reminds me of a friend that I used to know that would always say that, she didn't need therapy because she had a strong mental, how did she say it? She said, I don't need therapy because, the weak-minded need therapy. And I always thought, well, wow, that sounds really terrible. That, I just have to make better decisions, and I just have to be strong-willed and all these other things that she would say. And I would go, I don't think that makes sense,
Right. And seeing a therapist isn't going to change your character. It's not going to change your personality. What it's going to do is give you an opportunity to forge an alliance with somebody and form a relationship with somebody and help them and have somebody who's really trained to be a listener and trained to help you develop goals and help you to succeed and find peace and whatever else it is that you might be seeking in your life. They're trained to do that.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to what good is talking, why would I just talk about this problem? Is the answer, Nicole, that because you need to be able to express it. You need to be able to say it out loud to someone who's actively listening to you in order to feel better even.
Exactly. I like to, think about it as like this pit in your stomach, right? So you have all these things that whether you're holding down or you're not talking about, and they don't even have to be things. They can be feelings or, just something that you're holding in. Any opportunity that you get to talk about that it's releasing it. And so I'm a firm believer in my practice of, using symbolism and releasing anger and releasing frustration and releasing, whatever emotion that you may be feeling. And you can do that through talking.
Mm-hmm. What about the people who say, you know what, I just don't want to sit there and talk to a stranger. I feel weird. Any therapist you see, whether they're a licensed counselor, whether they're a social worker, whether they are a psychologist, they're trained to make you feel comfortable quickly. And they're not just sitting there judging you, which is another reason people say, I don't want to go because they're just going to judge me, right? Yeah, I hear that one a lot too. but the thing to remember is that they're not judging you. They're quietly working to perceive your problems from your perspective. It's all about empathy. What we want to do as therapists is really get a feel of what it's like to be you and to experience what you're experiencing. And sometimes we have to do that quietly, and it may come off as judgy, but we are also, again, trained to not judge, but to be there with you. And, people also say, getting back to the money thing, like, it costs too much money. Some people think that therapists don't really care. They just want the money. I think I like to relate social workers and nurses and school teachers kind of all into one lump there, because most of us don't get in it for the money. We're in it because we want to help people and we want to make a difference in people's lives. And this is just an opportunity for us to do it through talking. Right. I mean, and as a therapist, this is something that I find really, I love this about the world of therapy, is that your therapist will see you as often as you want to be seen. But at the same time, you're not sitting back making you have this problem, you better come in and write me another check. That's not ethical. No, exactly. And again, whether it's a social worker, psychologist, or counselor, they again have a lot of training in ethics as well. So we're always sure that what we're doing is for the client and not for ourselves. Tell me about medications. And we know that we have a lot of people who are taking antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications. And it almost felt as if when we first started to see a rise in prescription drug use, especially when it comes to mental health issues, that anybody who ever had any sort of depression or anxiety, you kind of took the same pill and you were okay, right? Right. That was the idea. But that doesn't work that way. No, I mean, medications don't work equally for everyone. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of trial and error, and that's something that you do with your psychiatrist or your doctor. When you're working with a therapist, though, there aren't side effects. You're not going to have chemical side effects. What it's really going to be about is active, positive coping strategies to help you reach whatever goal it is that you want to reach. Now, am I saying medications are awful? Absolutely not. If somebody needs them, let's make sure you have the opportunity to find the right medication for you, but let's use it as a life preserver. Okay. Let's not use it as a, standalone, something that is going to be the all or nothing for you and your mental health. Let's use it as a life preserver and keep that life preserver on while we're pulling you back into the boat with therapy. Yeah, I love that. The final deal here, the final reason why people don't go to see a therapist is that they don't want to air their dirty laundry in public. Tell us about why people feel that way. A lot of people think that if they're going outside of their social circle, outside of their friends, outside of their family, and they're talking to a stranger, that automatically that means that their information is going to be available for everybody in that community as well. Mm-hmm. But your information is confidential.
When you go to see a counselor or a therapist, any matters that you discuss by law stay between you and that therapist, unless, of course, there's reason to suspect harm to yourself or others. Those obviously have to be reported. But other than that, what you talk to your therapist about stays confidential.
So you're not going and, having a dinner party and saying, hey, guess what?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I think that is that can be really scary to some people, though, because if you're just opening up for the first time, a lot of this, the relationship between a patient and a therapist is built on trust. So do you have scenarios where people just come see you, they feel you out, they try on the shoe, if you will, and they want to make sure it's comfortable and that they trust that the shoe is going to get them where they're going?
Yeah, I have that a lot, and I encourage other people to do that. If you go to a therapist for the first time and you're like, gosh, I'm not sure if this person was the right fit for me, that's okay. See who else you can find. And I understand it's difficult to kind of tell that story, that initial story that you share with your therapist during the first appointment multiple times, and not that you should be going to multiple therapists, but if you can find that one that works for you and take the time to find that one works for you, it's going to be worth it in the long run.
Let me ask you about people who feel as though they're not in the right therapy setting right now. It's okay to look for another therapist, whether you feel like you've outgrown that therapist or you're I know that I have a friend that used the words, I feel like I'm disappointing her. And I thought, I think maybe you need to find a new therapist because you've gotten into such a personal relationship where you shouldn't feel like you're disappointing your therapist, someone that is there for you, right?
Yeah, it's okay. You wouldn't go see a doctor and stay with the same doctor just because you've been with that doctor forever. You're going to find somebody that fits well for you and what it is that you're experiencing.
And your needs.
Exactly, and your needs.
Absolutely. Well, Nicole is a mental health therapist in Traverse City, as we said, full-time social work professor at Ferris State University. And you are working with these clients that are dealing with these issues. They want to get back in the boat.
Exactly.
You want to get back in the boat. Nicole, you are taking new clients. mentalwellnesscounseling.com is the best way to find you, Nicole. And I just wanted to mention, too, if people feel like therapy has become more and more mainstream over the last few decades, but it once was looked at as, you're not a strong person if you're, utilizing therapy. And there can be older adults out there that are still a little worried about going to see someone. Would you just recommend that they come in and they even talk to someone for 15 minutes to see how they like it?
Yeah, feel it out and see how you feel. And I think most people, if they do that, they're going to find that they're going to have an opportunity to find somebody who's going to be available when they're unhappy, when they're anxious, when they're unsatisfied with their life or their experiences or their job or their marriage. There's going to be so many opportunities. And again, therapists are trained to be good listeners, and they're trained to help you find those coping strategies to find peace in life.
And I will tell you, I think it's worth exploring no matter where you are in your life right now. It's okay to say, I think I need a little help.
It's okay. Let's get rid of that stigma. It's okay to see a therapist.
Yes, it's okay, guys. It really is. Well, thank you so much for coming in, Nicole. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.